you want to write a book. I mean, that's the entire reason you clicked on this video, is it not? Well, lucky for you, I'm actually a published author. You guys can get my book, the link in the description down below. We're not going to go too much into it today because this video is about you. And I'm going to be sharing some tips on how to write your book smoothly and easily so that way you can bypass all the rocky parts I had to go through while writing this book. So let's get into it. The first thing is obviously your idea. What is your idea for the book? What is the plot line? Who are your characters? This is the stuff you need to figure out firsthand. I recommend getting a notebook or a specific Google Doc dedicated to all this information, where you write down the plot, your characters, your character profile, so like their age, their favorite color, their favorite food, their interests, their dislikes, their likes, their height, stuff like that, so that way it's easier for you to describe and write these characters in your novel. Trust me, it's going to make your life a whole lot easier because I didn't do this and it made it so hard for me to describe my characters until I finally had a mental image of what I want them to look like, and then I had to go back and change everything that I had done. So trust me, it's really better if you just go ahead and describe your characters. You also want to go ahead and describe your scene. Where is this entire book taking place? Where are the scenes? You can go ahead and set locations and decorate these locations in your mind. Visualizations, and write down your ideas for these locations, and that will make your story come to life a whole lot better if you actually know what you're writing about. Because if you don't know the place you're writing about, it kind of seems like we're not there, and you want the character to feel like they're in your book, like they're in your story, and that is the entire point. So go ahead and do that as well. You can also write down, like I said, the plot, but you can also write down major plot twists that you want to happen in the book, or any minor details that you want to remember to put into your book because it's something that you really want to put into your book. Because I do this all the time and it just makes writing so smooth. Like when I have an idea and I write it down for like a plot twist near the end of the book, I write it down, and then when I get to the end of the book, I can add in that plot twist. Where I get to page 100, I can go ahead and add that detail that I want to add once we write a certain chapter and a certain event happened. The next thing is actually plotting your book. So in the same document or the same notebook that you used to do character profiles, the plot, stuff like that, all that good stuff, you can also plot your book. So the way that I do this is I do like chapter 1, and I do a short description of what I want to happen in chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and so forth until I reach the epilogue. And it just makes the writing process a lot easier. I mean, when you are doing the plotting, that is when you're really truly hitting the writer's blocks. And it's very rare for when you're actually writing the book, basically doing what you wrote down, it is really hard to hit a writer's block. I mean, unless like you're really unmotivated, which I've hit those, which is why I'm saying like it's common, but it's also not that common. So like it's rare for you to hit a writer's block when you've already plotted out your book. Because when you have not plotted out your book, you don't know what's gonna happen next. You don't know this and you don't know that. So when you plot out your book, you can deal with those writer blocks then, and you can come up with the ideas so that when you actually go into writing, it's smooth sailing from here. So we can pick and choose our battles, and I think I would rather my writing be easier than the actual ideas of what's going to happen in said chapter. The next thing you want to do is to not listen to every single writer's video. And I know I'm saying this like, Maddie, you're literally doing a writer's video right now. What I mean by this is some writer videos will tell you not to do certain things in your book, like show not tell, and that's not always going to work, especially if you have a really complex character who has a hard time like expressing their emotions. Like let's say we have a side character and this side character is really hard at expressing their emotions. How are we going to tell that this character is upset if they're not displaying any of those emotions? So at some point, it's great to have a moment where your character, your side character, your main character lashes out and says, okay, I'm upset. Okay, this is how I feel. Because all characters are different. Now, am I saying to do this for every single character? No, because then we're going to know that you're taking the easy route out and just telling us instead of showing us. But I will say for certain complex characters, it is actually really nice to show, and it's really nice to tell and not show, because certain characters need that tell instead of showing, because certain characters cannot show because that's how that complex they are. That is a human trait. Some people have a really hard time of expressing their emotions, giving hints, or even making facial expressions or giving off body language that shows they are uncomfortable, upset, mad, angry, happy, unless they tell somebody or tell the character that this is their emotion, that's what they're feeling. So when it comes to certain characters, I would say telling is better than showing. But when it comes to like your main character, especially if it's in first person, do not tell the reader I'm upset, because maybe the other characters don't know, but we will know based off of body language, based off of how they describe things that are uncomfortable, things that are enjoyable to them. So when it comes to your main character in the first person point of view, maybe don't tell, maybe show, because even if your character has a hard time giving off emotions, we, since we're in the main character's head, should know they are uncomfortable by the way they are doing things, or the way they are drifting off from people, or the way they're looking at stuff. So just make sure you're really careful about what you like, especially if it's like two POVs. You could do it where one POV you're like showing and the other POV you're telling. Like, let's say for example, one POV is in the FMC's point of view and she's really uncomfortable with the situation she's in, right? And the FMC, we go to his point of view and he cannot tell because the FMC does not give off those vibes at all until she says something. So it is really important to kind of pick and choose what you're going to do, who you're going to listen to, because some videos will think they're giving you the best advice, which they actually are, because showing and not telling gives you a much more immersive feeling and you feel like you're in the character's shoes. But showing and not telling is not always the correct answer. So definitely pick and choose what is best for you. The next thing is probably one of my favorite parts, which is the Pinterest boards. So Pinterest boards is basically, you guys should know what Pinterest is. Basically, you can look up the aesthetic of your book. So we can do like blue royalty. This is like examples from my book. Blue royalty, black royalty, stuff like that. That gives off the vibe of your book, and make a Pinterest board for your books. That way, whenever you have a difficulty of writing a scene, you can go back to that Pinterest board and see the aesthetic, because you can put in pictures, like Pinterest pictures of people who look like your character, or you can put in Pinterest pictures of places that look your scene. This just makes your book a lot easier to write, especially with like a visualization. Like if you're a visual person, this might make it a lot more easier if you have a real photo to go off of. And instead of copying and pasting, maybe changing stuff up a bit, obviously, but it gives you a visual representation for people who like can't picture stuff that well in their minds. But it's also just really fun to have, like, to get Pinterest boards and just like save random ones into that one little file Pinterest board thing, and just look back at it and be like, okay, this is the vibe of my book. And it also comes in handy when you make promotional videos and stuff, because you can do like the aesthetic of my book, and it's just a whole bunch of like pictures and videos like that are aesthetic of your book, and that really comes in handy for promotional videos as well. The next thing is not burning out. So something I do to prevent burning out when it comes to writing is, number one, do not force yourself to write if you don't have the motivation or the inspiration to write. Like, let's say you're writing a scene and all of a sudden you lose all the motivation, you have no inspiration, and you have nothing to go off of. Do not force yourself to write that scene. You want to know why? Because if you force yourself to write that scene, then it's not going to come out the way you want it. And if that's the way you keep it, then readers are going to be either really unengaged, bored, or confused, because it just doesn't seem like your normal writing style. And you don't want that, because scenes where you force yourself to write, it's really clear when you do, because it becomes sloppy, rushed, boring, confusing, and your reader's going to be like, oh, I didn't really like this. And that's what it's going to cause them to take off reviews and take off stars and be like, yeah, like it was good, but there were some parts where it was kind of like boring, and it was slow, and it was too fast, like it was rushed, and it was sloppy, and it was boring. We don't want that. So if you don't feel like writing, if you don't feel like proofreading, don't do it, because then it's not going to turn out the way you want to. It's going to turn out tacky. We don't want tacky. I will say something that really helps me when it comes to not burning out are Pomodoro videos. And these are basically videos where it's like you have a 30-minute timer to do work, and then you get like a 10-minute break, and then you have another 30-minute timer, 10-minute break, and so on and so forth. And it just makes my life a lot easier, because then I feel like, okay, I'm getting stuff done, but I'm also taking breaks. I'm not stressing myself out and overworking myself, which just makes my job a lot easier. So I would also say that doing Pomodoro videos really helped me, or you can do like lo-fi music, however you pronounce it, to motivate you and to get you in the mood to do all that. Another thing is you can do like motivational videos. I have a ton of write with me, well, not a ton, I have a few write with me videos on my channel that you guys can actually go watch. And I feel like whenever I edit those or like I play those back like from my account and I rewatch my own videos, or like I even watch other authors do their write with me videos, it motivates me to write, because I'm just like, if you don't write, then this is not going to like, you know, like you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. Like if you didn't write your book, if you didn't proofread your book, this would not be here. This would not be here if you didn't find that motivation. And so I'm just saying, like, write with me videos are great motivation, or you could do like read with me videos and then you can just like write to those videos, because usually they have like aesthetic lo-fi music or ASMR of them like flipping pages or typing on their keyboard, and to some people that really helps them focus. So next up is also a really fun one. It's kind of like the Pinterest one, but making a playlist for your book. What is the theme? What is the aesthetic of your book? And basically you can pick music that really relates to your characters, with scenes, with aesthetics, and put it all into one playlist that is like labeled as your book. So that way when you're writing scenes, you can listen to that music, or when you're writing or proofreading your book, you can listen to those scenes, and it's just so much fun to do that. I actually have a playlist that I'm actually going to reveal sooner or later. It's going to be on my Instagram first. You guys have to go up there, but Instagram and TikTok, you guys should go follow me on Instagram and TikTok, because I share tips up there too, like little tips and tricks and stuff for writing, but they're like in short form obviously, but this is like a longer form video. So yeah, you guys should follow me up there. But I am going to be revealing the Ruined Royals playlist up there soon, since it's not in the book, because the playlist wasn't finished when I did the book, and I didn't want to just put out a random playlist out there that didn't really match the book at all, you know. But it was set to release on a certain day, so it had to release on that day. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and wait another 3 months because I don't know the playlist, like I don't know the music that goes with it. I didn't really listen to music, but I do listen to music now when I'm like writing this other project I literally just like announced the theme of just a few days ago. Once again, it's on my Instagram, so if you guys are on Instagram, you guys don't know what I'm talking about. It's only the theme is only on Instagram. It's not even on TikTok, so I mean, like, you should go check out the Instagram, like the bio as well. But yes, music really helps set the scene, really helps set the writing mood. And you guys can also listen to, like, if you don't have like a specific playlist, you guys can also, especially if it's like fantasy books, you can look up like Fourth Wing reading playlist, and the Fourth Wing reading playlist has a whole bunch of like fantasy theme music you can listen to while writing your book. Or if you're like writing a romance, you can look up romance reading playlist or something like that, like romance lo-fi music reading playlist, something like that. Or I feel like romance is just like lo-fi music straight up, so you could do that. Or, you know, whatever, like if you're doing like thriller, you can do thriller reading playlist, stuff like that. It's all over YouTube. Utilize, like, use your resources. It's really easy. You don't have to pay for anything. You don't have to pay for all these expensive subscriptions. Next up is your writing platform. Now, I personally use Goodreads because it's something I'm familiar with and it's really easy to use, and it also auto saves everything. But I know people use Word. I personally don't use it because, one, it's like really complicated. Like, why do we have all these buttons? What do these buttons do? It's confusing, and it's really hard to format my book up there. And also, it doesn't auto save. So like if my computer dies and I've written like 700 words or like 30 pages, and like my computer dies and it doesn't save, that's gonna make me really mad, because I'm not even gonna remember what I wrote. It's 30 pages. So it's something like, if you want something that auto saves, I definitely recommend Google Docs. People use Reedsy all the time. I tried to use Reedsy, it just wasn't for me. Like, I didn't like it. I didn't like how I wrote there, but a lot of people use Reedsy. But it's also really easier to format your book on Google Docs, so I just really recommend using Google Docs. Like, that's always the thing I resort to, because everything else is just either too complicated for me or it frustrates me. Word. So yeah, I just think like picking something to write on is really simple. And you can also take the file from your Google Docs and upload that, especially if you're using like KDP, which is Kindle Direct Publishing, which is free publishing for authors. That's what I use. You can literally just print the, like, you can literally get the PDF off of Google Docs and upload that to your KDP. It just makes the process a whole lot easier. Okay, and auto saves. Listen, I don't make the rules here. I'm just explaining things to you guys, okay? The next up is your cover and your editor. Now, your cover, I have made this cover and also a few other covers for other projects, but I've also gotten people to do other covers for other projects, because there's certain covers I, number one, don't have the ability for, or just like, number two, I don't understand how to do that kind of stuff. There's other covers where I can do them simply, like this one, and it, you know, it's easy to do those for me. So when it comes to cover, I can't really tell you if you should do your own cover or not do your own cover. I just recommend doing what's best for you and what fits your budget. And along those lines, we're going to go on to editing. So when it comes to second, like, this is what I'm going to say to you guys. I've said this in another video, but first, second, and third drafts before it actually hits the editing process. First draft, we all know what a first draft is. Second draft, we all know what a second draft is. We clean up our stuff, we fix like grammar, stuff like we fix the sentences, we change a few things around. And now a lot of people have asked me, what is a third draft? And this is mainly for like before it even hits editing. So before it's even considered to be in the editing stage, this is where you as the author reread your entire novel. Read it out loud. And what I like to do is I also like to record myself reading out loud, and I listen to it back and see how well it flows. Like, if this were to be an audiobook, would it flow well for the reader? If people were to read this book out loud to other people, would it flow well as the listener? So you also take that in consideration. So I definitely like to read it out loud when I'm reading stuff. But reading in your head, it's like, it doesn't hit the same, you know, but reading it in your head also helps as well. That's usually what I do when I do the second draft, and the third draft is what I do when I read out loud, which it takes a while to get done, but it gets done. So yeah. And then the fourth draft is the draft that the editor works on. And I've heard a whole bunch of people be like, oh, hire an editor or don't hire an editor. A lot of people say like edit your own books. I personally hire editors, and the reason why is because after the first, second, and third draft, I have read my book so many times that I am either one, really sick and tired of reading the manuscript like 3 times in a row, or 2, I really biased to my work, and there's oftentimes where I miss things that should have been fixed a long time ago. And so that is I keep playing with my hair, I don't know why, it's just so satisfying to me, but that is like the reason why I hire an editor, because when I hire an editor, it's unbiased opinions, they give me advice, and I fix the things that they tell me to fix. Because people always think like editors all the work, no, they give you suggestions, they don't really change too much except for like spelling and grammar and stuff like that, and then they give you suggestions on things to fix, and they proofread everything. And sometimes they were proofread multiple times. Like, my book was proofread, like, I'm gonna say twice, by someone who was not me. So yeah, editor, it's really optional, but I personally feel like you should hire an editor. Like, even though, girl, if it's out of your budget, please save up, because like a lot of books that I've read that have been self-edited have been good, but there are also some where I'm just like, this could have used a professional editor. Because for one, everybody is cut out to edit a book, and it's not in a mean way. It's literally just like, you don't see the mistakes a professional editor would, or like someone that's in a professional field of editing would. So it's better to just hire an editor. I have an editor because I know good and well I'm not qualified for that kind of job. I know good and well I'm not going to catch everything an editor is going to catch, and the editor doesn't even catch everything, but still I know that the editor is going to catch way more than I ever could. So I guess it's really what matters, right? They are improving your book. And if you're biased about your book, there's really little room to grow. So that's why I just say hire an editor. I have so many more tips for you guys, but I don't want to take up way too much of your time. So if you guys want a part 2, let me know in the comments. I really hope that this video helped you, and I hope that it was informative, and I hope that your novel turns out great. And I will see you on the next video. I also upload YouTube shorts daily, and I upload a long form video every other day. So one day I post a video, next day I don't, and then the day after that I post a video. So you guys should subscribe, because I'm really active up here. Like, I used to be inactive on this channel, but I'm getting into my groove of being active on this channel. So if you guys choose to subscribe, once again, follow me on TikTok and Instagram, because I am really active up there, especially on my Instagram. I always be posting something on my story, so trust me, I'm active in my community. And I hope this video really helped you guys out, and I hope that you learned something new and this really helped you write your book. And I love you so much. Big up kisses. I love you, but Jesus loves you more. And goodbye.